I'm in car heaven, because here I have two of the highest performance, fastest, quickest, and most powerful Ford cars ever made. The new Ford GT and the brand new 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. In this video, I'm going to show you all the coolest features of both of these cars and also try to answer an impossible question. Which one of these is cooler? I also get to drive a Ford GT. You gotta check this out. The Ford GT really is a race car turned into a street car. It's using so much race technology. I mean, it looks like a race car just sitting still. And I think that's the allure of the GT. It has the history and the heritage, but also modern technology. On the other hand, the GT500 Shelby is a Mustang turned into a super Mustang with all the power under the hood, the suspension, aerodynamics, and it's the most powerful production car that Ford has ever built. So it's a street car pushing into the supercar territory, while the Ford GT is basically a race car brought down for street use. Let's get one thing straight right away. I'm a truck guy and I know very few intricate details about these two very special cars. So I need an expert, which is why I have Matt from Ford here to tell me all about these cars. So we gotta talk about aerodynamics, because this car kind of looks like a spaceship from a lot of angles.
Right. The aerodynamics, given that its high performance nature and the fact we wanted to go racing at Le Mans, were very key to the program. You'll see, notice if we just start in the front, there's a nicely designed splitter, and you have what's called these chutes. There's an actual chute back here with flaps that open and close for drag mitigation. Most of the cooling air exits through the hood vent right here. That's why it's so large and prominent. Moving down, you'll see underneath the car there is what's called a keel, and that will direct air underneath the vehicle. It's all flat bottom, so you get nice attached air.
Okay.
The turbochargers, charge air coolers to cool the air down, are on each side of these buttress.
Okay.
So there's one for each turbo before it enters the engine.
They're preparing for the Woodward Avenue festivities. They're putting this car away, and I'm driving the black one. Let's go.
It's all the little things.
Sorry. Well, gee, and thanks for the opportunity to drive this car.
You know what? We're excited to have you. 25th annual Woodward Dream Cruise. So you're right. It's a special street. It's America's first highway. And one of the things that is interesting about Woodward Dream Cruise 25 years ago, it came as it was supposed to be a car event to help raise money for a children's soccer field in Ferndale, just south of here where we do Mustang Alley.
Okay.
And so now, 25 years later, it's grown quite a bit to 1.4 million people annually and over 40,000 cars participating on the Saturday.
Yeah. Sitting nice and low.
So it's a 50 millimeter drop when we are in track mode, and that might not seem a lot, but it's substantial when you're already this low to the ground. There are some nice cars out here. We've seen some good stuff today, but I think we're in pretty good hands with the GT.
Yeah, we are. There's a lot going on here in the front of the GT500. This chin splitter has its own chin splitter, has its own splitter. It's really amazing how much aero design went into this.
There was a lot of aerodynamics put into this car. So if we just start with the front, we have a unique metal grill mesh on this vehicle. And the reason it's unique and it was optimized for airflow, we tried numerous iterations of different airflow grill mesh to make sure to maximize all the air that this car needs to keep cool and make power. So then we have a unique GT500 Splitter, which is designed for optimal ground clearance, yet reducing front lift. Underneath the car there is a belly pan that is similar to the GT350 belly pan that has underwings and brake ramps to help reduce front lift and keep the car planted. Then as we're moving, these are for track use only. These are what are we calling splitter wickers, and basically they help shield some of the air on coming to the front of the tire. And then there's a unique underwing feature right here that helps reduce front lift as well.
So are these optional parts, or?
They come standard on the track package and then come with the handling package if you get the base model GT500.
All right, gotcha.
Backstory on this wing, it's an exposed carbon fiber wing. If you take the cord section, so basically if you took the end plate off and looked at the side plane of the cord,
sure,
that would be the same cord that was found on the Le Mans winning GT4 GTs.
Okay.
And it's on the GT4 race cars. So this is the same wing that's on the GT4 race cars, yet at a lower height. So we've definitely taken that motorsports derived technology and brought it to the masses.
These two engines have one thing in common. They're both using forced induction. You have a twin turbo V6 with 647 horsepower. You have a supercharged V8 with 760 horsepower. It's a really tough call about which engine is the best. They're both amazing, but I'm gonna have to take the V8. The sound and the horsepower level on this engine is out of this world. Okay, this is the quiet mode. Next is normal. This is track mode.
For engine, you have the 3.5 liter twin turbo EcoBoost V6, producing 647 horsepower and 550 foot-pounds of torque. You can't see it, but behind it is the 7-speed DCT transaxle from Gt500.
Now here's the beast. This is a 5.2 liter supercharged V8 with a rating of 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. It's made it to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission.
The transmission is a 7-speed DCT, similar to that of the Ford GT. And as you'll see here, there's a tray right here. You remove this for the track day kind of competition use, and that not only helps with the cooling as evacuating through the heat extractor, but it also helps downforce. It helps keep the car reduce front lift on the front of the vehicle.
Okay, very neat. Tires. So I see Pilot Sport Cup 2s. And what does this have?
Pilot Sport Cup 2s as well.
Okay.
They each have a unique Pilot Sport Cup 2 designed for each of these applications, as the weight and the weight distribution are different between these vehicles. So the vehicle dynamics engineers work closely with Michelin to optimize a tire for each one of these vehicles.
Both of these cars are also meant for track use, and the suspension systems are quite different. The Ford GT has a very fancy race car inspired suspension with DSSV spool valve shocks, while the Gt500 Shelby has a MagneRide adjustable suspension system as well. Here in the Shelby Gt500, it's very similar but also different from the Ford GT. Here's what I mean. I can move my seat back and forth. In the GT I can't, but the seat is also very supportive, very comfortable. These Recaros hug me very well. The steering wheel is similar because it has a lot of controls built into it as well, as far as menus, settings, volume, and cruise control, etc. But I just feel like I'm sitting a lot higher because I am, and there's a lot more elbow room in here. Just feels like a bigger car, which it is. There's no mistaking this. The Ford GT is just a very, very special car. And look at the door function. I mean, my gosh, I think the video is over right now. feels really special to be inside this car. The seat doesn't move itself, but the pedals do, and there's a lot of adjustment on the steering wheel. So I'm just over 6'2", but I can still get very comfortable. Check out the steering wheel. If you guys like racing Formula One, this is where it's at. Let me fire it up one more time. You get shift lights up here on the top of the steering wheel. You've got light controls, windshield wiper controls, mode control, your menu control, volume control for the stereo, phone control, and blinkers. Of course, the two cars are very different, but the parking button is actually the same, and so is the control for the headlights. This GT500 will be available for sale in a couple months, several months from now, with a starting price of around 75,000 bucks. And with all the options you see here, the carbon package, the track pack, and a couple of other bits, it's around 100,000 bucks, relatively attainable. On the other hand, the 4GT, there will only be, as of now, 1,350 cars made of this generation for the street over the span of about 6 to 7 years. So it's a really rare car. It's a very expensive car, very highly exclusive. I mean, pricing is around $400,000, but it can vary wildly on options and colors, so much less attainable. Without putting both of these cars on the track back to back with a professional driver, which one is cooler? Well, for me, just by looking and sitting in these cars and getting my first impression, I have to pick the Mustang. It's a really tough call, but you can get probably 4 of these for a price of 1 of those. And it's a little bit more attainable, maybe a little bit more useful on an everyday drive as a daily driver rather than this. I have to pick the Mustang. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and go back to tflcar.com for more news, views, and real world supercar and exotic car reviews.